Gonna let the beast out, caged up, held down for far too long. You ready? Be ready. Breathe in, smell the victory. Breathe out, let go of all the doubt you feel. Believe, reject defeat. Don't ever be afraid to be a legend. When it's on the line, seize the moment when the moment's right. Come on, you're in this fight. Don't ever be afraid to be a legend. Stand the test of time. Seize the moment when the moment's right. Come on, believe you're in this fight. Don't ever be afraid to be a legend. Hold up, are you listening? Focus in, we're looking to make history. Let's go, we know what we've waited for.
Hey, good evening. It's Thursday night, and you guys know what time it is, right? It's time for Around the Nation on the Viking Nation Live. I am your host, Larry Godwin. Hope you guys have had a fantastic, productive week. We're going to have a lot of fun tonight, speculating on the spring game, what we can expect going into the 2022 season. I've had several phone calls today and conversations from like-minded fans that are, I don't know how to describe it. They're cautiously optimistic heading into the new season this year. And really, it really kicks off tomorrow night. Let's be honest about it. Football season is upon us. So I just looked over at the comments line, and Jerry Safford, man, we appreciate it, dude. We worked hard on that countdown, and that is a cool song. It really is. That reminds me, one of these nights, I'm going to actually post the artist, that kind of stuff on here of the music that I use, because they are some fantastic independent artists, and I'll share some of that stuff with you guys because they are really, really talented folks. Before we get into the bulk of the conversation tonight about the spring game, you know, the Tift County Blue Devils are coming to town. They're gonna be full of fire and brimstone, if you will. You get it? It's the Blue Devils, fire and brimstone. That makes sense, right? They're going to be filled with fire and brimstone as they roll into Martin Stadium under their second-year head coach in Noel Dean. And I know it's a spring game, but I got to think that Tift County has something to prove. I would imagine Coach Noel Dean is probably playing this year with a chip on his shoulder because he's the coach from Michigan out of state. He heard all last year that, Georgia football is better. He got asked a lot about, is it what he expected, implying that it's just not. It was a lot more, I guess, physical game down here versus what he saw in Michigan. So I'm sure that he's instilling a lot of that into his players. And so, yeah, it's a spring game, but I know it's got to mean something to Coach Noel Dean and his Blue Devils. So we're going to talk about that. But before we get into that stuff, I want to make sure, guys, I thank my sponsors. And then let me just make it bigger because they deserve a big. There we go. Commercial banking companies are our newest sponsor. I want to make sure I emphasize that every time I sign up a new sponsor, I want to make sure I emphasize that for the next 3 to 4 shows, just to make sure that we really appreciate any sponsor that decides to underwrite this show. We don't make it hardly any money off of it, really. We use all the money that we get in sponsorships and we pour it back into the show, into graphic software like Photoshop to do the outstanding graphics that you're accustomed to. Tomorrow morning, you're going to wake up to see a new game day graphic because tomorrow is literally game day. So I've been working on a game day graphic for tomorrow. So we take all that money, pour it into new technology such as this. There's actually a game that's going on tonight up in North Gwinnett, a spring game. Right now, that's on the screen is the Archer Tigers and the Marietta Blue Devils. So that's the kind of technology that we invest in. And so that's what we do, take all the profits from or the revenue from the sponsors and pour it back into the show, the Facebook page, technology, that kind of stuff. So you can have, as a fan, a better experience. That's what this show is all about. That's what the Viking Nation is all about. It's not for this might sound this might sound not as not, I'm trying to think of a tactful way to say it. This show wasn't, or this site, the Viking Nation, pregameblitz.com, that kind of stuff. It wasn't really created for the players. It wasn't created for coaches or the school system. It was created for fans like you that wanted information, that wanted to support their team, but really didn't know how to do it. It was created as a rallying point for like-minded fans. And I think we've done a pretty good job of doing that. We've got other features that we're feverishly working on rolling out. But again, it's a one-man show, so please be patient with all that. Let me just go ahead and make sure I thank all these sponsors. Commercial Banking Company. If you need personal checking, savings, CDs, auto loans, mortgage loans, business loans, the folks at Commercial Banking Company can help you out. Give these folks a call because there's a reason why they've been in business in Lowndes County for so long. They know what they're doing when it comes to the banking business, and they give you that special hometown feel. When you walk into one of their banks, one of their institutions, they know you by name. So give these folks a call, Commercial Banking Company. Hey, Hira, Valdosta, and I believe they just purchased an institution over in Quitman as well. We also want to thank Freedom with Steve Nichols. This guy does a fantastic job. Listen to him. I was on the road this morning. You know, he does a show Monday through Friday, bright and early from 6 to 9 a.m. Got a chance to listen to him while I was on the show. Of course, I turned my phone down so I wouldn't be watching it, but I was listening to the broadcast this morning. And Steve does a great job of touching on the current topics of the day, especially when it comes to topics that matter to us. So give this guy a shot. Watch his show on Facebook every morning, Freedom with Steve Nichols. And plus, we got another major announcements coming up in a couple of weeks. We are stepping up our partnership with Steve and the Freedom Network, and we'll be announcing something more formal in a couple of weeks. We also want to thank Matthew Godwin at Verizon Wireless on Perimeter Road. If you need help with iPhones, Androids, accessories, small business accounts, I got a call from a guy today that needed some help with cell phone service and turned him over to Matthew. I understand they're already working on it. So thank you, Matthew, at Verizon Wireless on Perimeter Road. We also want to thank Kyle Conger at White Oak Investment. This guy gives me solid financial advice, and I'm glad I listened to him because I've made some money by listening to him. And that's why he's there, to offer you sound financial advice. White Oak Investment, Kyle Conger, 229-850-8848, and tell him LG from the Viking Nation sent you. Now, some of you guys may suffer from headaches like migraines. If that describes you, then these folks are for you. The certified headache medicine specialist, Josh Batson and Justin Haskin at the Migraine and Spine Clinic of Valdosta. If you have the need for their services, give them a shot. There's no long wait. They can get you in, get you treated, get you on your way. So that's the Migraine and Spine Clinic of Valdosta. Now, sadly, we're saying goodbye to Tim Neesmith. He and his family are moving up to North Georgia to be closer to his kids, and because Tim and Kathy are grandparents now, but they are still going to continue to sponsor the show. Their company, A Shade of Perfection, is going to remain open down here. He's got some fantastic help that's going to keep the doors open and continue to do a fantastic job of supplying homes with custom shades and blinds. You know him by now, A Shade of Perfection, Tim Neesmith. By the way, Tim donated a bunch of T-shirts that we're going to start giving away next week on the show. So stay tuned for that. So the giveaways are returning. And finally, last but not least, Pepsi Bottling Company of Valdosta. We want to thank the guys like Doyer Deloach and the gang at Pepsi Bottling Company for sponsoring this show. They entrusted us with getting the word out of the new flavors that they have, that Pepsi does a great job of rolling out year in and year out. They don't sit on their hands, on their laurels. Some of the flavors that you might like, Pepsi, Mountain Dew. That's not the only thing they do, guys. They also produce Rockstar. They distribute Mountain Dew Energy, Mountain Dew Spark. I just saw today another announcement, another flavor they're rolling out. So give these folks a listen. In the cola wars, I prefer Pepsi products, and I hope you do too, because these folks sponsor the show, and we ask that you sponsor the guys that sponsor us. Anyway, thank you so much to all of our sponsors. All right, so Jerry Safford and Kenneth Hurst, they're already hot on the comment line tonight. Kenneth Hurst says, "Great show, keep up the good work, enjoy watching every week." Kenneth, man, we appreciate those kind words because we do work hard. We really do. People don't understand how much it takes to put this program together every week, and we do it twice a week. Now, I'm glad we brought that up because starting next week during the off season, we are combining our two shows. Currently we do a show on Tuesday nights that is the pregame blitz. That covers not just Lowndes, but all the area programs as well, including Valdosta, Thomas County Central, Thomasville, Tift County, Camden, Ware County, all these teams in South and Middle Georgia. We try to talk about as much as we can, as much as we have information on Tuesday nights. And then on Thursday, traditionally, we've been focusing on just Lowndes. But during the off season, when the school's out, we're going to start combining those shows into one show that's going to air on Tuesday nights only for the off season and the summer season. And that's going to be Tuesday nights at 7:00. So the Thursday night show, don't worry, Viking fans. We're still going to talk plenty of Lowndes stuff. We're just going to do it all on one show on Tuesday nights during the off season. So I hope you'll continue to tune in. That'll also give us time to develop other content as well to get it ready for the fall. So we hope that you'll continue to tune into the show on Tuesday nights at 7:00. So we also want to thank Jerry Safford, cool song for the countdown. Go Vikings, and congrats to our athletes in action. Absolutely. Speaking of those athletes in action, guys, I got to tell you, Lowndes has had a fantastic year when it comes to its different athletic departments, right? First of all, I shouldn't say departments. I should say the different athletic teams. First of all, the baseball team had a fantastic year. They just finished their playoff run, came up short, made it to the quarterfinals, the third round, and lost to a feisty Mill Creek team. But man, they lost in 2 games, but both of those games were so close. They lost the first game 2-1, and then the nightcap 1-0. So let me say that again. They lost 2-1 and 1-0. It wasn't like they were blown away. They were in both of those games. They were pitching duels, and we just came out a little bit short. But anyway, the baseball team under Ryan Page has had a fantastic year. They followed last year's excellent year by making it, last year they made it all the way to the semifinals and fell to Parkview. They followed that up this year with a quarterfinal run and falling just short to Mill Creek. But nonetheless, congratulations to the Lowndes Baseball Vikings for making it to the third round. By the way, they had an overall record of 27-9, almost a 30-win season. So, guys, outstanding job. Outstanding job. And if you'd like to know who those seniors are, I have posted that, or I think earlier this week or late last week on the Viking Nation Facebook page, recognized all the seniors on there. I left one senior out. It was brought to my attention, so I added him on there as well. So thank you so much to all the seniors. Best of luck. You'll be graduating soon. This week, I think that's right. You'll be graduating very, very soon, and you'll be starting your college career, going off into the workforce. Some of you will be joining the military. Some of you will be going to trade school. Whatever path you choose in your life, we want to wish you the best of luck, and keep Lowndes high in your thoughts. Just check in with us every once in a while because we want to know what you're doing. Best of luck to you in your college career, your future endeavors, and check in with us because once a Viking, always a Viking. We're proud of all you guys. We also want to say congratulations to the Lowndes girls golf team. Placed third in state. How about that? Go girls. All right. Girl power with the Lowndes girls golf team. Thank you to Coach Amanda Hughes for sending us that update earlier this week, along with a great photo of the girls holding the flags from the pins at the state golf tournament earlier this week. So congratulations to the Lowndes girls golf team. The Lowndes track girls. How about that? Go Vikings. State champions. Whenever you can put the word state champions after your name, you've had an outstanding year, right? And we saw that coming. That track team, both the boys and girls, just kept having dominating performances week in and week out during the regular season. And then when they made it to the sectionals and then all the way to the state finals, man, oh man, the girls especially excelled, took home the crown, and are now state champs. So this time next year, they will be defending state champs. We also want to thank or congratulate the boys on an outstanding season as well. In particular, I want to call out a kid named Tydreek Thomas. I don't know if you recognize that name. He was a former football player, but decided to focus on track. But Tydreek, man, he came third in the state. I believe this is right. Third in the state in the 100 meters. I think his time was like 10.58 or 10.56, something like it. Was blazing fast. Can you imagine how fast those first two guys were that beat Tydreek? But Tydreek Thomas, third in the state in the boys 100 meters. So, man, blazing fast. Congratulations, Tydreek, and really all of the boys and girls Lowndes track and field teams for an outstanding season and an outstanding career. Because I think they were like region champs 4 straight years. So congratulations to those fine student athletes. Now, something that we've been keeping a close eye on are the scrimmage football games that's been going on this week. I think the 7th grade, if I'm not mistaken, the 7th grade scrimmage today at 4:00. Let me tell you something. I was talking to one of those parents earlier today whose son was playing at the 4:00. And I said, dude, do you know how hot it is going to be out there? He says, yeah, I was thinking that. It's like, man, oh man, 4:00. So I gave him some advice. I said, I know the kids are going to be hot on the field, but you're going to be in that stadium and you're going to be just as hot. So make sure you bring an umbrella just to shade yourself from that sun. 96 degrees in my car at 4:00 today. It was tough. I was on my way back from Tallahassee talking to one of these parents, and they were telling me about that. They were excited about the possibilities of the game. And you should have heard this parent's voice. They were so thrilled. I didn't know who was more excited, the player or the dad, but we were both lamenting on the fact that it was going to be 96 degrees today. But that's just football. That's just the nature of football. I wonder, though, in the future, especially for these early games, like middle school, that kind of stuff. I wonder if they could play those types of games in the new multi-purpose indoor facility. It would make a lot of sense, right? You got a nice air-conditioned building, and it's 96 degrees outside at 4:00, or sometimes they play those things at 3:30. In the fall, 6th, 7th, and 8th grade games. Maybe they start moving them indoors. I don't know how that's going to work. But it was hot out there. We appreciate all that. Now, I got a head count of one of the teams today, the 7th grade team, and I was told that this is combined Pine Grove and Hayhire. They call that North Lowndes now, and they combine those teams. And so, just the 7th grade team, I was told that they had 77 players. You heard that right, 77 players. So talk about a strong pipeline headed up to the high school. When you got one grade that has, Lowndes has 3 middle schools, so that's not even including Lowndes Middle School. But when you got one grade of Hayhire and that's called North Lowndes, Hayhire and Pine Grove combined, that's 77. And then when you add the numbers from Lowndes Middle to that, and they probably have by themselves 35 to 40, maybe 45 players, something like that. You got over 100 kids just in the 7th grade system. So imagine tripling that by including the 6th grade squad, the 8th grade squad. So you're talking about just at the middle school level, anywhere from what, 200 to possibly 250, 275 kids, if not more. So that's why it makes sense now to have a director of football operations. You know, in the good old days when we hired a head football coach at the high school, he was basically, if you wanted to pay him a little more, you gave him the a title of athletic director, but you had an assistant that basically did all the athletic directing duties. So the head coach can just focus on the high school football team, right? But now, because our program is so large, you got to have a head coach that is also director of football operations. And that title is not just a title only, it's actually an administrative position that reports directly to the school superintendent. So that's why they call it director of football operations now, because just at the middle school level, you're talking about several hundred kids. And then when you add the high school players on top of it, you're talking about another 150 to 200 kids. So potentially you have 500 to 550 kids. Let's just say 450 to be conservative, 450 to 500 kids in your football program. Guys, that is a huge operation that requires a lot of hands and a lot of all hands on deck type of deal. So Lowndes football headed in the right direction. It's well organized, and I hear that one of the strengths that Zach Grage has as a head football coach and director of football operations is I hear that he's very structured and organized, and I think Lowndes really desperately needed that. Desperately needed that. Hey, before we go any further with football talk, Wilbur Pelfrey reminds me that the boys won the 4x100 real estate. Oh my gosh. Why did I just say that? Freudian slip, I suppose. The boys won the 4x100 relay state finals. So thank you so much, Wilbur, for reminding me of that, to bringing it to my attention, because we want to make sure we recognize those young men as well. So Wilbur Pelfrey, thank you. The boys won the 4x100 relay state finals this past week as well. So congratulations to the Lowndes track and field team. You know, I reached out to Coach Joseph Robinson to see if they could come on to the show tonight, and he wasn't able to make it. So I'm still hoping to get him on the show. He coaches the girls track and field team, and Coach Terry Quinn coaches the boys team. Now, both of those are involved with the football program as well, with scrimmage games going on this week. I understand that. I understand they're busy. Are we selling houses now? Caleb Arnold, I have no idea what you're talking about. Caleb Arnold says, are we selling houses now? Caleb, I have no idea. Did I say, my Freudian slip about real estate. I get it. I'm sorry, man. I'm such a dummy. So, no, we're not selling real estate, although I would not object to having a real estate sponsor. You've given me a great idea. I'm going to call some real estate companies in town to see if they want to sponsor a show. Because listen, we got, especially during football season, we've got probably 2,000 to 3,000 people a week that watch this show. When you add the live numbers and the on-demand viewership that we get during the week, you're talking about a lot of eyeballs consistently from week to week watch this show. So, Caleb, thanks for the suggestion, man. I really do appreciate it. Great show, LG. Thanks, Mom. My mom watches this show as well. She says, great show, LG. Now, you know that it's your nickname, your show name, your stage name, LG, has really taken over, dominates the name in the naming convention in our household when your mom refers to you as LG now. So thanks, Mom. I really do appreciate it. So, guys, we were talking about the football program as far as the different numbers, that kind of stuff. So I went down this list of how many players that we have in the program, and those were approximate numbers, right? Because they kind of fluctuate from the spring to the summer. The springtime is usually when you have your biggest set of numbers. That's when kids that think they want to play really come out because everyone's dreaming during the spring. Kids, fans, you got your eye on next season and you want to be a part of it. And then you go out for the spring and it's hot and sweaty. And by the time summer practices start, some of those kids fall away. I hope not this year, but that's why numbers fluctuate usually from spring to summer and then going into fall. But maybe they won't now. I hope not, because that's a lot of kids. That's a big talent pool to be choosing from. So congratulations to all those players. Now let's talk about the ninth grade. Also had a scrimmage game, I think today at, I just went mute, today at 5:30. So congratulations to all those kids. I did not hear about how that went. I was asked earlier today if I was heading out to the scrimmage, and at 4 o'clock, I said, one, it's 96 degrees, and two, I've got to get home so I can prepare for the show tonight, just to make sure everything flows smoothly. Because I didn't want to go to the 4 o'clock scrimmage that bled over into the 5:30 hour. And let's say that game lasts an hour, hour and a half. I mean, it's 6:30 before I'm jetting back to my house, trying to go on air at 7 o'clock. So that's why I didn't make it out to those games. If you were at either one of those scrimmages today, give us a shout. I'm going to put my call-in line number on the screen. I'm hoping to hear from a couple of guys that were there. Jason Barnes, his son plays for the 7th grade team, hoping to hear from him. I'm also hoping to hear from Chase Garnto, who was at the 9th grade scrimmage tonight. I think his son plays on the 9th grade team. So hoping to hear from those guys to give us a report on how it went. Now, here was a brief report from one of the guys that sent me a text. He said, take this with a grain of salt because it is spring, right? He said they looked great at times, other times needed some work. He said, about what I expected for just 2 weeks in a new system. That brings up a good point. What are your expectations for the spring game tomorrow night? What are your expectations, given the fact that these kids have had basically 10 practices, right? Not 14, not 20. I think in the state of Florida in the spring, their teams or their programs are allowed like 20 days of practice. In Georgia, they're allowed 10 days of practice. And so sometimes when fans go out to a spring game, the expectation levels are just off the chart. They're just off the chart. And sometimes in spring practice, kids don't do as well because it's spring. We try to play just about every kid that goes out for the team is on that roster. We want to get them on film so the coaches can properly evaluate them in almost a live game situation, right? And so now you have 10 days of practice in combination with playing, what did I tell you a while ago, 150 kids? We're trying to get 150 kids. And at any given time, we only have 11 on the field. So you got 150 kids that you're trying to get in to a scrimmage. And on top of that, it's usually like the varsity usually has 3 quarters to put their players in. And then the last quarter is usually reserved for the younger guys. So you got 3 quarters to try to fit 120 something kids in, right? These are these kids that are vying for positions, that kind of stuff. So you have 3 to 4 quarters, try to get 125 to 150 kids in. And that means that you don't have very much time. You don't get very many snaps for each player. And you're trying to get them as all on film so you can evaluate them after the game's over with for the next week or so. and longer into the summertime. So you have super high fan expectations, limited amount of playing time, all the kids that you're trying to get into this 3 to 4 quarters. And sometimes those two goals conflict because the fans have this goal, these expectations. Hey, caller, welcome to Around the Nation on the Viking Nation Live. What is on your mind?
LG, what's going on, buddy?
Chase, how are you, man?
Oh, man, I'm living the dream one nightmare at a time.
Never quite heard it put that way, man. Well, speaking of nightmare, that heat was a nightmare today, but we had a spring scrimmage game for the 7th and the 9th grade programs.
Yes.
So
I didn't get to catch the 7th and 8th grade, but I did catch the 9th grade scrimmage.
Tell me what you saw. Your overall impression first.
They were about where I expected them to be, given 2 weeks in a new system. You know, you're meshing a bunch of kids together from Lowndes, Pine Grove, Hayhira,
Yep.
You know. But there were some flashes. Tate and Snellgrove looked good. Their big bruising running back looked good. There was a wideout out there. Looked, he called some good balls. He called a go or a fade route from Snellgrove down the sideline. Looked really good. Who else? The defense looked. They had flashes of good aggression up front, and then they had times where they looked sluggish.
Gotcha. Okay.
There was a good run by Austin Everidge. He looked really good coming. You know, once he found his crease, you know, he can explode really well.
Right.
It's just a matter of, you know, finding a crease. You know, after 2 weeks of practice, new system, new plays, do things like that, and you're meshing all these teams together at one time. They were about where I expected them to be honest. I mean, I didn't expect to be blown away.
Gotcha.
Per se. But looking at it from a realistic standpoint, they're exactly where I would expect them to be.
Hey,
maybe
I want to give you a name. Candace Marie says that receiver's name is KT Thomas.
Nice. That kid got nice hands. I'm talking about nice hands.
So you're saying that the cupboard is not bare when it comes to Lowndes football?
No, it's far from bare. It's far from bare. Like I said, the receivers, they did drop some passes here and there. Some of them I would advise in game time.
Yeah.
Unless they want to watch their coach's head pop off his shoulder, spin around, and set back down, they might not want to drop those.
Okay.
But,
fair enough.
I mean, other than that, you know, the summer work that these kids are going to put in, you know, some of these kids, you know, they go through the 7-on-7 programs and, you know, they do things like that. And then the rest of these kids, they'll come in and they'll put in the work and
right.
they'll do things the right way. They'll do things the Lowndes way.
Yeah, absolutely.
And they'll get better. They'll get where we expect them to be in a year from now. When we go to watch the rising sophomore game this time next year, I expect to see that group meshed well together. Everybody be on the same page. Receivers and quarterbacks be a little bit more comfortable with each other. Running backs be a little bit more comfortable with their O-lines. You know, things like that. I mean, when you mesh a team from 3 different middle schools all together at one time, expect them to mesh in 2 weeks, right. That's not being realistic.
Absolutely. I mean, before you called
in.
You
hope they come in.
Yeah, before you called in, I was talking about trying to level set fan expectations with reality of 10 days worth of practice.
Yeah, I mean, in 10 days, you don't expect a team to show up and just blow you away in 10 days.
Yep.
However, what you're hoping for is to see flashes, to see a spark here or spark there, or signs of great improvement in an area we were lacking.
Yeah.
That's what I go to these spring scrimmages and these spring games to look at is how well has Lowndes' offensive line improved since last year?
Absolutely.
How well has their pass rush developed under Anders? How well is the offense getting up and down the field with Sean Sutton calling plays?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, things like that. You look for things like that. You look see what they have been able to implement. Are they understanding it? Are they being able to run it effectively? Are they getting the play calls in on the right amount of time?
Right.
You look at it realistically. Stop looking at it. You stop going. If you're going to the spring game and expecting to be just completely just blown out of your seat, there'll be times, I'm sure, where you'll be like, "Oh my God, wow!" Don't do that. Don't do that. Go to the spring games to support these kids. Go to the spring game with realistic expectations. And go to the spring game in hopes to see the areas where Lowndes struggled last year be better improved.
Let me ask you something about offensive and defensive schemes. I know it's only 10 practices under a new coaching regime, but can you start to see a difference in the types of plays they run or the up tempo versus slower tempo? So tell me what you saw from that perspective.
I like the new defense.
Okay.
The defense is a very different look.
Sure.
I like it. I'm interested to see if we can maintain that all year, but I do like what I see. I think some of the Lowndes, what I call the Lowndes faithful, are going to be shocked because Lowndes' corners will not be playing where they normally play.
I got you.
We've been having some Colquitt fans to try to slide in on Thursday, try to get a little inside track. They might want to feed over, So I try to limit what I say sometimes.
Gotcha.
But there's a formation that I have not really seen a whole lot of at Lowndes. I've seen it elsewhere, so I mean it's not really a shock to me. But I've seen other programs run out of that set and do different things, and I like the new offense personally. I like to see what the varsity can do with it.
Right.
Now that I see what they're trying to implement with the rising ninth graders.
Right.
I'm very interested to see where we are in come the first home game. I'm really interested to see where we are when we play out there on that day. I can't even remember what day it is now. When we invite Colquitt and when Lowndes and Colquitt are going to be playing against other teams in Lowndes Stadium.
Oh, the Georgia-Florida Challenge, August 20th.
Yeah, August 20th. I'll be really interested to see where we're at when we play that team from Florida.
Well, tell us about, you said a while ago, Tate Snellgrove looked good. We got a bruising running back. Didn't quite remember his name. So, we've been
I call him Derrick Henry 2.0.
We've been hearing a lot about Tate Snellgrove. I don't want to hype him too much because I'm sure he's going to have competition. But we hear that, he is an up and coming, really, really good quarterback, and he's been showing signs of promise. So how did he look out there? What kind of passes did you see him deliver on, that kind of stuff?
He threw some really good passes. He threw some really good passes that were dropped. I think honestly, he just, he's got to trust his instincts just a little bit more, maybe scramble out when he wants to let the play develop just a little while longer. I think he might want to trust his instincts. And,
sure.
Every coach in the world may be screaming in his head, don't run, don't run, don't run. Sometimes you just got to make that run.
That's right.
when he did scramble out today, when he did roll and do some of the things that I like to see Peyton do, he was really effective, really lethal. The kid can move. I mean, he's got some wheels, and especially with Austin Everidge in the backfield with him.
Yeah.
Because Austin and Peyton have right about the same, what I would consider comparable speed.
Okay.
As a defense, once you commit to hitting one of them, if they commit that they feel like Peyton's going to pull and keep that ball, but they hand it to Austin, Austin can burn them. I mean, if he gets that crease, he can burn them. But if they zero in on the running back, Peyton can pull it and he can burn you going around the edge.
Yeah. So I'm gonna put up on the screen a comment by Candace Marie. She said, "Keep your eyes on Austin Everidge, super fast kid with great hands. He's also a track star." So it sounds like he's going to have super hands and super fast.
Yeah, he is. He's got some super wheels now. He can that touchdown run he had today. Soon as he hit the crease, kind of reminded me of 1st and 10 a few years ago over there on Baysmore Hyder Field. 1st and 10, 77 yards to the house. Thank you very much, touchdown Viking.
So are you saying that he is the next coming of Travis Tisdale?
Man, you look now. I ain't gonna give these kids all that much credit now. Tisdale was
he's got to earn that name. He's got to earn that name.
Yeah, that's like the other night. Your boy Sam Horn.
Oh Lord,
man, I wish I'd have had Thomas Davis on the phone when he said what he said. 'Cause, woo, you can't Larry, come on, man. You cannot make the comparison between your defensive line and the concrete curtain that was Thomas Davis, Jacquez Hunter, Leon Williams. That was basically like the 4 horsemen of the apocalypse.
Yeah, I know what you mean. I remember Sam's comments. Yeah, he's proud of that defensive line coming up.
Yeah, but then you turned around like 2-3 sentences later and turned around and said, your offensive line was opening up nice holes for running backs.
All right. No. Listen, let's just focus on loud.
I was like, not against the concrete curtain.
All right, so Candace says Austin Everidge is more of a Drossier than a Tisdale. I'll take it.
Yeah, I would.
I'll take it.
I would make that comparison. I would make that comparison. He has all the athletic ability to be a Drossier style player.
Okay.
I would like to see a little bit more. I would like to see a little bit more aggression out of him.
Yeah. But I'm liking what I'm hearing, man. Tiberius 2.0. Yeah. I like it.
Yeah, I would like to see him be, because when Tiberius played, Tiberius had that nose for the football.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, he was just wherever the football was, bam, that kid was there.
That's right.
I would like to see that kind of aggression out of him. He did really good on the defensive side of the ball too. Austin did play a little defensive end today, and he showed flashes of speed coming off the edge.
Okay.
So I mean, he did really well. I mean, all around, I think as a collective whole, I thought they did really well. And like I said, they are where I expected them to be. What's the other kid that played quarterback? Tyler Parker.
Yep.
Parker did really well.
Okay.
Parker did really well today. You can't take nothing away from him. He had some good runs. He had a couple of good throws. Like I said, I think as these kids get more comfortable in this offense, I think they will, as a whole, the Lowndes fan base will see this group progress pretty well. I'm really interested to see, once they start into their summer workouts and their summer programs and whatnot, I'm really just interested to see which group of players decide to push each other.
Gotcha. Okay.
That's going to be your telltale sign of how well this group meshes, is which one of these, let's say 4, because there's usually about 4 or 5.
Mm-hmm.
Which 4 or 5 kids are going to step up and be the leaders, are going to step up and be the mouthpieces that drive these young men? Because
irregardless, and everybody always tries to put that on the head coaches and the coordinators and all that. But you got to have that voice on offense and that voice on defense that just is a player that the players rally around.
Well, you hear coaches talk about this all the time. It's like I can't remember who said it, but I heard a coach on a show one time talk about, there's only so much that a coach can pour into a kid. And when it comes to a certain point, when it comes to motivation and in-game type of adjustments, you might find yourself behind. A lot of times it's especially seniors. It's one or two players that get very vocal that really start to pump up their own players. Those are those senior leaders that you really, really love to see step up.
Oh yeah. It's I believe the next, like I said, like I told you, you can stamp it, put it in your date book or do whatever.
Right.
In the next 3 years, Lowndes wins the state title again.
Okay. Wow. That's man, that's a bold prediction.
Lowndes is going, I'm telling you, Lowndes, and contrary to you man that I call the Lowndes hater, contrary to his belief, Lowndes is not overhyped.
Okay.
According to what, now see, like I said, I talk to a lot of people in a lot of different areas.
Sure.
The word throughout Region 1, 7A, I ain't gonna say, but we let's say we travel. Let's say you'd run into it if you travel down 133 going west.
Yeah.
You'd find the place I'm talking about.
Yeah.
They a little worried about Lowndes. They just a little bit worried over there. They said some of their faithful I was talking to today come to me and was like, Lowndes really gonna be that good this year? I said, man, you ever seen Lowndes where they wasn't good in the last 15, 20 years? He said, yeah, but man, he said, y'all got grades over there.
Yeah.
And they were like, he's a whole nother animal.
Mm-hmm.
I said,
yeah. So listen,
we'll see.
Going into tomorrow night's spring game, I want to open this up to other fans as well. You guys can put stuff into the comments if you'd like. But what are your expectations going into the spring game tomorrow night? We know what the team did for the last couple of years, in particular last year. So knowing that, we had a really good team last year, now we're starting a new year under a new coaching staff. What are your expectations as a fan base? We led off the show talking about trying to level set fan expectations, but quite frankly, I'm going to ask you, what are your expectations going into this game, Chase?
All right. Honestly, I expect to see a well improved offensive line.
Okay.
I don't want to see Brooks Best or Tate Sermons or Marvis Parrish. I don't want to see those guys have to scramble for their life because we can't provide the pass protection that they need. I want to see, can the receivers blow off the ball in press coverage? Can we effectively throw the ball the way we need to throw the ball to be competitive at the higher 7A level?
Gotcha.
Can our defense defend the pass better than it has in the last few years? Because let's be honest, Larry, we struggled to defend the pass in the last few years.
Man, I would say in the last 10 to 15 years.
Yeah, I was trying to be generous, Larry. I wasn't trying to hurt my Lowndes brethren like that. But yeah, let's be honest, in the last 20 years, we ain't really defended the pass that well.
That's right.
But when you don't practice against the pass, it's hard to defend against the pass.
Yep.
But now that they're practicing against the pass, I'm hoping to see that pass defense be a little better because we got the talent. You got the likes of you got Marlon Evans Jr. out there. You've got Kevis Thomas playing corner.
Right.
I mean, you've got the talent to lock it up on the outside. Let's see it be implemented.
Is Marlon a junior this coming year or a senior? Last year was his first year into the program, but I think, is he a junior or senior next year? I can't remember.
I don't know. Candace gonna have to help me out with that one. I'll be honest with you.
I understand. Yeah, I'm looking for some of those things that you talked about as well. Candace says that she would like to see more receiver sets, more receivers displayed. And I'm assuming she means that more receivers actually involved in the game plan instead of basically just decoys.
Nah, you're going to see that.
Yeah. So she says MJ is a sophomore. So I'm assuming that means next year he'll be a junior next year. Kenneth Hurst says, yes, we will set the tone running. No, Will Pelfrey says he would love to see set the tone running the ball. Wilbur's an old school run the ball first kind of guy. And I don't blame him. I mean, that's usually the key to high school football. Even as a good passing team, you got to have a pretty good run game to set that passing up.
You're going to see a lot of, I think I ain't going to guarantee it, but just from what I saw in the soapbox scrimmage, you're going to see a lot of wide receiver screens, which you got to keep in mind. A short passing game is nothing but an extension of the run game.
Yeah.
Screen passes are nothing but an extension of the run game. So you're going to see little swing routes. You're going to see screens. You're going to see little short out routes, little underneath, quick slants, stuff like that. That's going to be an extension of your run game, but don't think of it as you're going away from your run game to a pass game. Think of it like Tom Brady did with New England for years. Think of it as an extension of the run game.
Well, we saw that with Collins Hill last year, right?
Yeah. You saw a lot of that with Collins Hill. That's the way Collins Hill likes to do things, and I believe that's the way Grage is going to do some things based on what I saw at the soapbox scrimmage. I'm basing solely this off of what I saw at the soapbox scrimmage.
Gotcha. Well, Tony Miller. Tony Miller says your next Lowndes High State Championship contender is going to be the upcoming sophomore group. He says, I've coached most of them from the boys club up. That's the team that's going to do it. Coach needs to focus on them. So that's what Tony says. And I've heard a lot of things about last year's 9th grade team. So that's who he's talking about, the upcoming sophomore group. Yeah, that is a special group. And we saw one of their players last year in linebacker Coleman Lewis actually step up, right, and become a starting linebacker for us.
Yeah. They are going to be some. You're going to see some kids that you're going to hear some names that you haven't heard before. The sophomore class and the junior class right now are going to be something really special. Those two groups right there. That's why I gave the expectation of the next 3 years. Because I'm being realistic. We're coming out of a 4-year guaranteed starting quarterback.
Yep.
We're coming into a strange area in the running back situation because outside of Smoke Fleming, I didn't recognize a whole lot of those running backs. But Smoke didn't play the soapbox scrimmage because of the track. But but the typical Lowndes running backs that we're used to seeing, like Chase Belcher, Gary Osby, those big, just freight trains is what I call them.
Right.
I don't think you're going to see that this year. I really don't. I hope that Grage just kind of kept one in his back pocket and said, "Nah, let's don't show this tonight. I'm just going to keep you over here." Type situations, but I believe you're going to see. I'm just going to brace Lowndes as faithful. I believe you're going to see more of a Christian McCaffrey type.
Okay.
Honestly, I mean, if I had to make comparisons, you're going to see more of a scat back, what I call a flash and slash instead of a ground and pound.
Yeah, I got you. Okay.
So I mean, like I said, I'll try to keep it as realistic as I can. I'm with a lot of the Lowndes people that are commenting. I'm with them. I want to see these wide receivers on display. I want to see Kevis Thomas. I want to see Aiden Seafa. I want to see Jalen Carter. I want to see all these other receivers, because Lowndes has got a slew of receivers, Larry. Yeah. I mean, they must have been 15. They must have been 15 kids, 15, 16 kids. That's not including the ones that was hurt. Now, the ones that was hurt wasn't even suited up. The soapbox scrimmage the other night, they had to be 15 to 20 wide receivers. So, I mean,
you know, here's what I'm looking at tomorrow night, Chase. I'm looking at, you know, obviously we want to see all the player groups, position groups do well, but I'm looking at 3 position groups in particular. The first and foremost is the offensive line. How well are they starting to gel, come together? And I realize it's only been 10 practices, right? And so we're replacing most of the offensive line to begin with. So I want to see how well they're progressing. Because listen, we can talk about the quarterback all we want, and we can talk about the running backs and wide receivers, but we all know that it starts up front with the big uglies, as Coach Madden used to call them, right? So how are the offensive linemen going to look tomorrow night? The second group I'm looking at is the defensive front 7. So we're going to a 4-man defensive line front, and I'm assuming 3 linebackers. So that front 7, I want to see how they're doing and if we see a big improvement from last year. And then the third position group, obviously, a lot of people are excited about is the quarterback position. I understand that there is a big-time quarterback battle going on between Brooks Best and Marvis Parrish. Now, I'm assuming that Tate Sermon's joined the mix this week because the baseball team finished up their season last week. So Tate Sermon's probably joined the group this week. So, but my understanding is there is a fierce competition for that quarterback position. That's great to hear because that makes all of them better. So I'm anxious to see which quarterback starts to separate themselves.
Well, I'd be more interested to see which quarterback can lead.
Yeah. Okay.
They all 3 of those quarterbacks that are deep in the hunt for that coveted QB1 spot.
Yeah.
They all have talent. They all have an immense amount of talent. I want to see which one can lead, which one has the better rapport with his offensive line, because offensive linemen, they really take a liking to quarterbacks, especially the ones that they want to play.
Right.
So which one do they gel the best with? Which one do the receivers gel the best with?
Yep.
Which one steps up and leads?
Right.
That's what I'm interested to see. Which one of them can push the offensive unit, can lead and push that offensive unit down the field.
Yep.
That's the one I personally want to see. I don't care who it is. I want to see the best odds that gives Lowndes the best odds to win on Friday night. I don't care if it's Marvis Parrish. I don't care if it's Tate Sermon. I don't care if it's Brooks Best. Now, based on what I saw in the soapbox scrimmage, like I told you when you had that conversation, Larry, you know where I stand with that.
Yeah, I know. But I'm hearing some really good things out of that position group battle. Now, Wilbur Pelfrey, he makes an interesting comment. I really didn't think about this. He says that this is a major what if. Okay, he's basically saying if Tate or Brooks ends up as the starting quarterback, he says he wouldn't be surprised to see Marvis Parrish line up as a slot receiver in that offense.
I would say a slot or a running back position. Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Absolutely. Because I mean, you can't like you said the other night. You made the comment that these kids are such great athletes. You've got to figure out a way to get them on the field.
That's right.
Even if it's not the position they were, let's say like the quarterback position. Let's say they didn't get it, and maybe they're the second or the third string. Okay, just because they're second and third string at that position doesn't mean they can't be a first string at another position.
That's right. So listen, as we end the show tonight, I've got a message for the Lowndes fans out there. And so this comes from our buddy Cole Moore in Big Blue Country. I called Cole this afternoon, asked him to come on to the shows tonight since we're playing Tift County tomorrow night in the spring scrimmage. And everybody knows by now that Cole is a big, lovable guy. right? But he loves his Tift County Blue Devils, and sometimes he likes to talk some smack, but he does it all in harmless fun. But so I asked him if he was coming to the scrimmage tomorrow night. He says, heck no. Are you crazy? I said, why? He said, one, he's got to work. Then I said, you want to come on to the show? He says, no, I don't want to be eaten alive by the Lowndes faithful. And I busted out laughing. But he had a prediction for all my Lowndes fans out there. He says, Tift County is coming to town for blood, and it would not surprise him to see Tift County walk over the Vikings tomorrow night.
Not at Martin Stadium. No. Neutral field, or Tift County. Yeah, I'd probably give him a chance.
Yeah. Maybe. Now, most of that, probably 90% of that comment was tongue in cheek, but there was a little hint of, man, he hopes that Tift County could come in here and pull that off.
I've always felt like Tifton always played with class.
Yep.
They were never, their fans were never, to my knowledge, were never really hateful. They were never really.
No, always a great group of fans to be around. No doubt.
Yeah. Always a great group of friends. Always a great group of friends to go up there and watch and everything like that. So, and you don't always get that everywhere you go, especially as your larger high schools.
Right.
Some of your larger high schools can be just downright ruthless.
That's true.
So, Lowndes, we always conduct ourselves with class, and Tifton always does the same thing. So, our fans should mesh well with their fans. I think it should be a good night for high school football.
That's right. Well, listen, man, that's going to do it for tonight's show. So thank you so much for calling in, giving us an update on the 9th grade scrimmage tonight. See you guys at the stadium tomorrow night. Remember, it's going to be a Friday night game, but it's a 7:00 kickoff tomorrow night. So don't be late. And don't be surprised if we see some Tift County fans on the home side, because the visitor side is closed due to renovations tomorrow night. Okay. So be kind and courteous. Show some great hospitality to our visiting Blue Devil brethren from Tift County. So, Chase,
absolutely.
Chase, thanks for calling in tonight, man. And I will probably see you at the stadium tomorrow night.
Yes, sir, Larry. Look forward to it, buddy.
See you, man. Thanks for the call.
Bye-bye. Bye.
Well, there he is. Chase is always a wealth of knowledge, very opinionated, which we love to hear on a show like this. So we want to thank you all for joining the program tonight. Remember, next week, we're going to start combining the two shows into one, and that's going to air on Tuesday night. So if you tune in next Thursday night, we ain't going to be here. So this is your forewarning, right? So starting next week, we'll do the show on Tuesday nights instead. So guys, you've been watching Around the Nation on the Viking Nation Live. I've been your host, Larry Godwin. We'll see you at the stadium tomorrow night. If not, y'all have a great weekend, and go Vikings. See y'all later.